What did you think of Malawsky's post-game press conference?
I absolutely loved it. I think it's another thing that I touched on this week in my 3 up, 3 down is that Vancouver's playoffs hopes are in pretty tough shape with the fifth loss. And with the unified standings, it really does. The tiebreakers matter. And they've lost now tiebreakers to a bunch of teams that are ahead of them. Everyone's ahead of them in the standings, right? They're 14th. So 13 teams are ahead of them. But they've lost to a bunch of teams that are ahead of them and don't get a chance to play them again. Two of the teams that they have played, the two teams that they beat, they play both of them. So those teams actually get a chance to try and get back the tiebreaker from Vancouver. Now, they beat Georgia by 8. I think they can avoid losing to them by 9. But, they beat Sask by a couple, so they're going to have to watch for the rush, make sure that they're in that one. And they do have, the good news for them is they play 8 teams down the stretch who are, ahead of them, again, like most of the teams in the league right now, but that they have a chance to go after, and they can go and get those tiebreakers. So they play 7 of the teams, they just play once. Vegas, they play twice. So it is 8 teams that they can go and get the tiebreakers. Now, the touch of gray in that silver lining is that they're playing the top teams in the league. Among those, they play Toronto and Albany and Buffalo and San Diego, which those are 4 teams that have been looking awfully good so far. So it's definitely a challenging route. That's not what you asked me about at all, but that's not what I'm like talking about. But no, the Malawsky thing is absolutely what I think is what they were getting when they signed Curt Malawsky, is accountability for himself and his players. I saw some people saying, "Oh, he's throwing his team under the bus." No, he's not. He's being honest. He's just being honest, and that's Mouse. He's a straight shooter.
He's been critical about how the team came in shape, saying that he thinks that's why a lot of the I love it. I think you're starting to see moments of it. I think as long as the team buys in to the philosophy, it takes a year or two to really set your tone and really get everything going. It's challenging. It's tough to get through that couple years, but I mean, if you believe in the coach, you got to give the Firewolves ownership group credit. They have turned over the reins to Glenn Clark now for years, and let his plan kind of come to fruition. That's not something you see with a lot of ownership groups, guys constantly changing, but it takes years to build a culture anywhere. Just think about all the players that started playing for the Firewolves. It took years to get some of those draft picks lined up, to get Colton Watkinson ready. It's something everybody kind of looks at and they're like, well, why aren't you performing like that? But no, I think he's doing a great job there so far. I'm surprised actually they've got the wins that they've got so far this season.
I mean, they've played pretty well. I think the defense has been generally pretty good with definitely some breakdowns. The offense has not been scoring the way they need to. But I think the thing, and it's funny because before the season, I was doing my season previews for IL Indoor, and in the Warriors preview, I said, "Hey, everyone, pump the brakes a little." I said, "Curt Malawsky is a great lacrosse mind. He's a great coach, but this is a team that was 4-14. They've got 7 of their 11 or 12 defenders are going to be new on any given night, new to the team. Matt Beer's returning, but all these guys new to the team, even someone like a Ryan Dilks, it's going to take a while for everyone to get working together on it. And the thing about it is and I heard actually that people thought I was taking a hard line at Mouse, or that I was being negative about Mouse. I'm like, no. He's one of the people I respect most in the game. He's fantastic. I have a lot of respect for him. I really like him. I think he's just a great lacrosse guy. I was just saying, hey, he's not going to be a miracle worker. You're not going to suddenly compete for a championship this year. It's going to take a bit of time, and it will work. And I believe it's been working. I think it is working, even though they're 2-5. I think there's progress being made and will continue to be made. So that's why I love the speech that he gave, because I was saying, you got to give him some time. I mean, they're saying, oh, he's a great coach. We're going to come in. He's going to come in. We're going to win a bunch of games. I'm like, hey, you know who else is a good coach? Troy Corgan, that they had there last year. Troy's won a bunch of games. And before last season, when things really came together a lot for Calgary, Curt Malawsky's record wasn't amazing, right? He'd had some great seasons in Calgary. It had been a bit up and down. But, I think he's a terrific coach, and it's going to happen, but not overnight. I think the most important thing they did was hire him as coach and GM, because he's really putting together a team, and he's going to keep tweaking and keep putting that together, where he's getting his guys. And you can see, Grant and Laity coming in, I think are going to be terrific. Now, he didn't draft Grant. That was the year before, so you can't give him credit for that one, but he recognizes what he's got there. I think what he's doing as a GM, reconstructing the team, is going to be huge, and I think they will be very happy with it in the long run. But I didn't think it was going to be this year, and I don't think they're going to make the playoffs, being at 2-5 and having all those obstacles. There's a chance, but I don't think this is the year if you're Vancouver, which is tough when you've had year after year after year of it not being the year. But look at watching the
As long as they
NFL
can
Conference
stick with them, though,
Championships. What's that?
as long as
Yeah,
they can have the patience and the ownership group sticks with them, because you can't really find out if your GM.
no,
I mean, even if you change the coach, but if you change your GM every couple of years,
mm-hmm.
you're going to struggle. You have to have
Yeah.
a philosophy, whether it works or not, and that's what's so frustrating with it. You can't just okay, this is what's happening now. We're on to the next thing because, like